when Boston Pride announced last summer that it was dissolving following complaints of its board ignoring marginalized members of the community. It resulted in a loss of the city's iconic Pride Parade for the third year in a row. But with LGBTQ groups organizing their own events and parades around the city and the state, the celebration lives on, and the mayor's office has stepped up as well with the creation of Boston's first Office of LGBTQ Advancement, which just last week named its first inaugural executive director. Quincey Roberts, Sr., who joins me right now, along with Tre'Andre Valentine, executive director of the Massachusetts Transgender Political Coalition. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
For sure.
I'm excited to be here.
And congratulations, Quincey. I want to ask, what is the mission of this new office? How will it address some of those complaints from marginalized communities that we have heard over the last few years?
So we live in a very diverse city, and we have a mayor who is willing to put resources to a lot of the issues and complaints that we've had in the past, because I'm a community member as well. So I wear two hats. I'm a community member and I work for the city. So this office is a hub. We are not a catch-all. We're not going to solve every problem, but we want to be the hub so we can amplify what Tre'Andre and so many others are already doing in the community, so we can get back to the grassroots essence of Pride and how it all began. So that's what this office is really here for, just to amplify the resources that are already at the city, so LGBTQ plus individuals can understand that these resources are available for them as well. And we want to amplify what the community is already doing.
I'm interested, though, because as we talk about bringing in all of the groups and all of the resources that the city has, there are many different groups with many different agendas under that umbrella. How do you get folks together and be that hub and try to bridge some of those ties or some of those hurts that folks in the marginalized community may have experienced?
Yeah, it's been challenging, but myself and Tre'Andre and a group of others, we have gotten a head start before the announcement. Before this office was even established, we were already meeting and just trying to figure out what we can do as just community members. So with now these resources from Mayor Wu and the administration, we can actually put some of those ideas together. And I haven't met with everyone. I know a lot of people, and I've reached out to a lot of different groups before the launch of this office. But again, I have a lot of work to do to get those individuals in the same room. And that's just a challenge that I have and my future staff will have. So putting together a staff so we can actually make sure that we're in every city, every borough in the city of Boston, and making sure that we get into all the organizations, all the community members, and the politicians that want to help as well, to add more resources to what we already have. So it's a coalition. That's what I'm known for, is building coalitions and getting people in the room, having difficult conversations, as you said, Crystal. I myself deal with some trauma from past prides and just feeling unwelcomed at Boston's traditional Pride. So not only am I coming from a personal lens, I'm also coming from the city of Boston's lens. So I think I have a good intersectionality here going, that we can get the job done. So.
All right. Well, Tre'Andre, I want to ask you, because I know you've been working on a state level in many communities to advance this work. What does having an office in Boston open up specifically for LGBTQ plus community mean for the folks, not only in greater Boston, but perhaps in the state?
Well, I really think that it opens up a lot of avenues for folks, not only to just be heard, but to also have the work be done. Because it doesn't just stop at making laws. It means actually implementing the laws, actually furthering those laws, actually living by those values, right? And so I think it's really going to open up the doors, not only for conversations, but for things to actually move forward and for things to happen.
I think back to some of the clashes, especially in 2020 when you had Black Lives Matter protesters and the Pride events going on. How do you, through a pandemic and then now kind of on the other side of it, if we can knock on wood there, how do we bridge and heal some of those hurts there?
I think it's about connection, right? Connection changes minds, it changes hearts. And we've been disconnected. We've been disconnected from each other through this pandemic, and we've been finding ways to connect, right? Um, and I think now, hopefully through, again, the knock on wood, through the other side of it, we are able to connect again, because honestly, nothing beats connecting with someone face to face, one on one. It's hard doing this virtually. Um, I was at Pride in Pittsfield, I was at Pride in Quincy, and there's a difference when you're able to talk with someone face to face. So I think that the connection, that human interaction, where you can just see someone for who they are, that is really going to go a long way. And that's what's needed.
We are in Pride Month right now. What do we see as the main goal and the missions as we go forward? I know you both are community organizers. Quincey, you have this new office. What are the main goals and mission for this month particularly, and for this time that we live in now?
Yeah, for this office, it's newly established as of June 1st. So the first mission for this month is just making sure that I'm amplifying every event that I know about. So if you do have events, we do on our website, we do have a quote unquote calendar of all the events that I know about. Again, I'm only one person. So if you're listening to this and seeing this, boston.gov/LGBTQ+, please submit all events. No event is too big or too small. Please be respectful, because this is a kid-friendly, family-friendly events that we're promoting. But other than that, please send that to me. And that's my job this month, is just to make sure that the community is at the forefront of Pride, because that's how Pride started. So,
Trey?
I would say that for me, what's the priority is making sure that trans and non-binary folks and gender expansive communities, we have a space that feels safe, and is inclusive, and not only honors our own individual identities, but also identity as a community. And we will be doing that again with Trans Resistance March and Festival at the end of June on Saturday the 25th at Franklin Park. And hope to see you there, because it's going to be a great time.
What can folks outside of the LGBTQ plus community do to support that community?
I think it is to get involved in some way, shape, or form, whether it is by educating yourself, by coming to events, by seeing if there's maybe places that you can volunteer and offer up your services, but making sure that you do so where you are following the lead of folks who are actually doing the work and at the forefront of the work.
We mentioned it, and I don't want to end this segment without talking about, we mentioned about the trauma that folks have experienced in other Pride events. Quincey, I want you to speak a little bit to that in the time we have, and then how folks can do better.
absolutely. And Tre'Andre can agree with this, we've been protesting Pride for many, many, many years. This is not new here in Boston, including myself and my husband. However, the difference between 10 years ago and now, people are listening, and not just queer folks. Straight folks are listening to us now. So now we have a platform, we're being heard, and some of those individuals that were not so pleasant to work with in the past, they've kind of gone away, silenced, and now we have the voice, we have the louder voice, and I really want to capitalize on that while we have everyone's attention, because we know, just like any other movement, it goes in and it goes away. So while we have everyone's attention, while people are being respectful of our realities, accepting us in our totality, we want to capitalize on that. And that's pretty much what I want to do in the next 2 years, is just make sure that people are giving us a fair shake, asking the right questions, as Tre'Andre said, allow us to lead in these community conversations, take a step back in some of these meetings that we're having, and just let us step up to the forefront. So that's the charge that I have, and I'm super excited to be leading this department and having a mayor that's willing to provide and invest the resources to actually, as Tre'Andre said, to move the needle forward and bring about action to these issues that we've been talking about for so many years. So again, I thank you for amplifying this and Pride. I always say beyond Pride because it's just a month and we want to be celebrated, not tolerated 365. So if allies out there listening, if you can do that, or potential allies, then you can have a seat at our table.
All right, well said. Well, I want to thank you, Quincey Roberts and Tre'Andre Valentine, for your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.